Hey guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit about a game called TC3. That's the abbreviation. Full name, The Conquerors 3. This is, for me, one of the few games that I can still enjoy on Roblox. I'm now 17 and I started Roblox when I was around 12. Obviously, everything at that age is, super fun. Pretty much any game, no matter how crappy it is, you'll hop on. I mean, it's just whatever. You just want to play some games. But as we get older, there's very few that can actually entertain you like that, and it's not like we're going around and playing Bloxburg and Jailbreak. But there are these games that stand out, and this is the one that I think is the most underrated. It's filled with strategy and teamwork, and there really is no end to how much you can improve at it. There's such a vast community as far as skill goes. You can join and go against level 1 through 10 by the lobby. It lets you progress but keep difficulty all the way through. I've played for I think a year or two now, and I'm now like level 50, and there's always a challenge to be met. Some games are a lot easier, some are a lot more difficult. You're never going to have the same experience over again, and there's so much for you to learn to actually get into this game. So many factors, so much variety in the gameplay. Like, seriously, I'm not trying to over dramatize it. There's like factors in factors of each type of troop. You have the regular guys that you can build upon with the barracks, and that has snipers, medics. You can get a fort, and then you can have stronger guys that are called juggernauts. You can have construction soldiers that can let you expand to different areas you wouldn't be able to build. Like, there's so much to learn. If you've never heard this game, you won't understand what I'm saying. And that's great. That means you have so much to learn. You have the whole game to learn through. And it really is a good experience. There's so many good tutorials out there, but it is really kind of fun to learn it on your own. But you might need at least a basic one, which I do have. If y'all want that, I'll put in the description. But even in the maps, like to this game, I'm telling you, there's probably over 50 maps if I had to guess. I'll give a number on the screen. I can do the pain of counting through that. But there's so many different maps to explore and learn how to play through. It's almost like how I usually describe it is if you took a board game and you put it in Roblox. It's kind of like that. If y'all have ever played Axes and Allies in real life, that board game, it's maybe that's the closest board game to it. It's similar to that, but obviously there's actual dynamic movement. And this game is not about its graphics. It's not going to impress you with that. And I'm usually one to shy away from games that are like, they just look like basic blocky colors and there's not much to them. But that is not what this game is about at all. It gets what it needs across visually, and that's just not the important part. And I can't express how much more fun this is, especially to play with friends. A lot of people won't enjoy it. I think you kind of have to take the time to learn it to really have fun with it, because sometimes you'll really just be getting destroyed, and that's not always the most fun experience. Um, but as you learn and you progress and you learn strategies to be able to, move quicker and actually battle your other team without just getting wrecked, it gets a lot more fun. And then when you have a group of friends that are all skilled enough to play with you, it's really an interesting experience, and you can have a lot of time where you aren't even fighting the enemy team. There's so much planning that even goes in at those moments, though. What you want to spend money on, what you want to build up for, if you want to play more defensive, offensive. One of the things I really like, I talked about the troops for a little bit, is the naval aspect of the game. I am one of those people that's always like, yep, I'll try and take lead on getting everything going with Navy, and there's some maps that don't even have that, so talk about more variety. If you don't like dealing with um, you know, naval situations a lot, then you can just do a map where there's no water, and you don't have to deal with that. But when it is in there, that's just a whole nother factor to deal with, and I think that that is a good thing. And there's also different types of naval ships, of course, so there's variety inside the naval aspect too. You can have hovercrafts, transport ships, battleships, destroyers, carriers that can spawn planes, and a lot more. So that kind of leads me into also the aircraft. That's another factor of this game. You can spawn in all sorts of different planes. There's like transport planes, there's heavy planes, lighter planes, and you kind of go through and you experiment with what is smart to use at what times and what isn't smart to get ever. Like, the more I play this game, the more foolish it seems to me to ever buy light planes or light troops and that sort of thing. But when you really start to figure out what's smart to use, things can get kind of repetitive. So that's not to say that you should try the same thing over and over and over with no variation. Something that I didn't learn until a very long time is that it's pretty dang smart to get juggernauts, which you can do that by buying a fort, which protects your base, and on top of that, even though the troops are more expensive, so you're going to want to have a good eco if you're going to do that, juggernauts are actually very powerful, and they're almost like walking tanks. Like, they really do get the job done pretty well. So, that's definitely something that I can recommend is trying out different troops, getting out of your comfort zone, because there's things you'll get used to, and you don't want to stay with that. There's also really annoying strategies to this game. One of the most frustrating things you'll encounter is people that get like jeeps, some people that are like medical troops, and then a sniper or two. There's definitely some painful things you can do. Not to say that I think that should be like against, some rule, but you can definitely get on people's nerves, and people can definitely get on yours. It is one of those games that can get you frustrated, and honestly, if a game can get you frustrated, at least it means you care. It means you're trying to win, and it's fun to improve. So that is a good sign in many ways. You don't always want that annoying experience, and I don't always encounter players that have a bunch of, you know, cheat strategies like that, I'll call them, but when you do, you have to learn how to get around that. And usually you have to, fight the enemy with their own weapons and kind of do the same thing. And so you'll learn from players you go against. And that's honestly a really fun experience too for me as I've played this. But again, I can't encourage you enough how fun it is to learn this with a friend. Get someone who appreciates strategy and can be patient, because this game is not one where you're dealing with action like most combat games, of course, in Roblox. It's not the same as those. I talked in the beginning of the video too about how there's very few games that are still actually entertaining at a later age. And a few of the other ones, in case you're not familiar with the channel, if you're just looking for games that are entertaining, they're not like this, they're not strategy like this, but a couple others would be Those Who Remain, which is a pretty dang good zombie game with a good bit of variety on guns and maps. And then also Black Hawk Rescue Mission 5, abbreviated called BRM5. That's the game that I do most on this channel, and it is some people will call it realistic shooter on Roblox, obviously as realistic as you can get with blocky characters. It tries to be kind of milsim, but it's also got a lot of game modes and a lot of different places you can go. And I definitely would encourage trying those. And that's pretty much the end of this video. I just wanted to rant at you guys for a little bit because I don't know, sometimes it's fun to just hear out a person about a game that they love, and maybe try it out yourself if you haven't yet. And if you do know this game, then you can probably appreciate that I'm giving this commentary on it, because it really does deserve it, and deserves more attention. There's only like 200 to 300 people playing it normally, and I think it calls for way more than that. So that's it. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. You can comment your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next one.